Hello, my friends. Welcome back to my channel. Unfortunately, YouTube reviewers found my contents to be in the genre of financial advice, and I have been informed that it will affect my channel. So, moving forward, I am renaming my channel to Mindset Matters with the Wealth Sheikh, where I make complex psychology simple and accessible for everyone. Today, I am diving into a topic I find absolutely fascinating. Some of the most common, yet deeply overlooked mistakes in psychology. Today, you will see how famous psychological principles like scarcity, the forbidden fruit effect, and our fear of regret can backfire spectacularly when they are misunderstood or poorly applied. Our first mistake involves how we misapply the scarcity heuristic, the mental shortcut that assumes rare things are more valuable. Back in 1975, researchers Stephen Warshall, Jerry Lee, and Akambi Adewale famously proved this with two identical jars of chocolate chip cookies. One jar held 10 cookies, while the other held only 2. Even though the cookies were identical Nabisco treats, participants rated the cookies from the scarce, nearly empty jar as far more attractive, desirable, and expensive. But we overlook a massive trap found in the second part of that experiment. The researchers wanted to see what happens when availability suddenly changes. They took one group from 10 cookies down to 2, a transition from abundance to sudden scarcity. These participants valued the cookies highly, but they did the opposite for another group, taking them from 2 cookies to 10, sudden abundance. Strikingly, these participants rated the cookies as the least valuable of all, even lower than those who had 10 cookies from the very beginning. This is a huge, overlooked mistake that businesses make all the time. While creating exclusivity drives desire, suddenly flooding the market plummets its perceived value straight to the bottom. Take the productivity apps Mailbox and Tempo. They used long virtual waitlists to build hype. But when they released graphs showing how quickly they would expand and accept everyone, that sudden promise of abundance backfired. Frustrated users felt alienated and trashed the apps with terrible reviews before even trying them. The transition from an exclusive, velvet rope experience to a mass-market queue destroyed their appeal. Before we move on to our next psychological backfire, I have a quick question for you, my friend. Have you ever found yourself waiting on a massive wait list or rushing to buy something just because it was limited? If so, did you end up loving it, or did you feel a bit tricked once you finally got it? Pause the audio for a second and let me know your thoughts in the comments below. I read every single one of them. And if you are enjoying our little chat today, make sure to hit that subscribe button so you do not miss out on my weekly deep dives into the hidden quirks of human behavior. Our second overlooked mistake brings us to a concept called psychological reactance theory, which was discovered by a brilliant psychologist named Brehm in 1966. The basic idea is that human beings have a deep, fundamental need for personal freedom, control, and autonomy. My friend, when we feel that our freedom of choice is being threatened or restricted by some external rule or authority, we experience an uncomfortable state of mental tension called reactance. To relieve this tension, our brains instantly push us to reclaim our freedom, which usually means doing the exact opposite of what we were told to do. This is the classic forbidden food effect. The moment something is banned, it suddenly becomes unspeakably desirable. The common mistake here is believing that people will simply comply with logical rules or restrictions if they are for the greater good. But history shows that command and control tactics almost always backfire because of reactance. A famous study from the 1970s by researchers Mazis, Settle, and Leslie looked at what happened when Dade County, Florida, banned the use and possession of phosphate-based laundry detergents to help reduce water pollution. Instead of complying, the residents experienced intense psychological reactance. They drove to neighboring counties to hoard the banned phosphate detergents. A similar early ban in Spokane, Washington, actually shifted 40% of detergent sales straight to bordering counties. But the most mind-blowing part of the Florida study is how reactance literally distorted the residents' physical senses. When the researchers surveyed the Dade County residents and compared their opinions to residents in Tampa, where phosphates were still legal, the Dade County residents rated the forbidden phosphate detergents as physically superior in every single category. They claimed the banned detergents were gentler, more effective at removing stains, and they even swore that the liquid poured more easily out of the bottle. Objectively, the detergent had not changed, but their brains completely warped their physical, sensory perceptions just to justify their defiance and reclaim their threatened freedom. It shows that when you try to force people to change, your style of communication can drive resistance levels sky high, causing a causeless rebellion. This leads us directly to the digital world, where marketers and designers make the mistake of using fake psychological triggers to force people to act. My friend, you see this everywhere in e-commerce. Countdown timers that magically reset every time you refresh the page, or red badges screaming that there are only 3 items left when the warehouse is actually full of them. Psychologists call these manipulative tricks dark patterns. While these tricks might bring in a quick spike in sales, they represent a massive, short-sighted mistake. When a shopper pauses to verify a claim and realizes the scarcity is completely fabricated, like refreshing the page and seeing the timer start over, they experience secondary psychological reactance. This time, their anger is directed right at the brand for trying to manipulate them. Trust is broken, which severely erodes customer loyalty, destroys repeat purchase rates, and causes a massive wave of negative word of mouth. It is why the Federal Trade Commission has actively cracked down on these fake countdown timers and deceptive stock claims, identifying them as unlawful, deceptive design practices. Our final overlooked mistake is one we make in our own personal lives every single day, and it has to do with how we predict our future emotions. We are highly susceptible to a bias called regret aversion, where we make decisions in the present solely to avoid feeling the painful sting of regret in the future. This is the emotional fuel behind our fear of missing out, or FOMO, as the younger generations would like to call it these days. We buy things we do not need on a limited time sale, or force ourselves to go to a party when we are exhausted, simply because we tell ourselves that if we do not, our future self will regret it. But a fascinating meta-analysis by psychologist Daniel Gilbert and his colleagues revealed a major psychological error. We are actually terrible at predicting how much regret we will feel. They studied students who nearly won a contest and subway riders who narrowly missed their trains. In both cases, people predicted they would feel intense regret and self-blame if they barely missed their goal, compared to if they clearly missed it. But in reality, people felt far less regret than they predicted. We completely underestimate our psychological resilience and our ability to accept outcomes. When we make impulsive decisions out of a fear of regret, we are buying expensive emotional insurance our future self does not need. So, the next time you feel that urgent, overwhelming pressure to buy something because of an almost gone warning or a ticking clock, I want you to take a deep breath and pause. Ask yourself if you truly want the item for its own value, or if you are just reacting to the psychological pressure of a disappearing option. Remember, the truly valuable things in life speak for themselves, regardless of how much is left on the shelf. I would love to hear your thoughts on this. Have you ever experienced a time when a rule or a ban made you want something 10 times more? Or have you ever bought something out of FOMO and immediately regretted it? Let me know in the comments down below. If you found today's episode eye-opening, please subscribe to my podcast channel, like my videos, share it with a friend who loves psychology, and leave me a review. That will motivate me to share more knowledge and wisdom that I've learned over my years. Thank you so much for hanging out with me today. Keep exploring, keep questioning, and I will see you again in my next episode. Take care, my friend.